Maya, stop standing around and get back to work.
Yes, ma'am.
Then, are you all right? I'm just tired. Tell me if anything feels wrong.
There's nothing serious.
I knew he would be fine.
No. One day, I'll wear that white coat again.
Welcome to Stephified Stories, where ordinary people hide extraordinary secrets. Every twist carries a lesson, and every ending leaves a mark on the heart. Sit back, relax, and let's begin today's unforgettable story.
Every morning before sunrise, Maya was already awake. She cleaned the marble floors of the Harrison mansion until they shined like mirrors. She washed dishes, prepared breakfast, ironed expensive clothes, watered flowers that cost more than most people's monthly salaries. To everyone in the mansion, Maya was invisible. Mrs. Harrison rarely looked at her. The young servants ordered her around, even though she had worked there longer than all of them. Only one person ever thanked her. 8-year-old Ethan Harrison. The little boy always smiled whenever Maya served him breakfast. "Thank you, Miss Maya." Those 4 simple words meant more to her than anyone could imagine. Nobody knew that every night after everyone slept, Maya quietly opened an old backpack hidden under her bed. Inside were medical textbooks, a worn-out stethoscope, and a framed graduation certificate. She would stare at it for a few seconds before putting it away again. No one in that house knew. Their maid was actually a qualified doctor, and Maya wanted to keep it that way. One afternoon, the family hosted an expensive business lunch. Politicians, business partners, foreign investors. The mansion was full of important guests. As Maya served drinks, one of the elderly visitors suddenly grabbed his chest. He collapsed onto the floor. Everyone screamed. Someone shouted, "Call an ambulance!" Another guest panicked, "Don't move him!" People surrounded the man, but nobody knew what to do. Maya pushed through the crowd. "Please, move." Mrs. Harrison frowned. "What are you doing? You're only a maid." But Maya ignored her. She checked the man's breathing, his pulse, his eyes. She loosened his tie, lifted his chin, started chest compressions with perfect rhythm. 1, 2, 3. Everyone watched in shock. 30 compressions, 2 rescue breaths. Again, again, again. After what felt like forever. The old man gasped. The room fell silent. Minutes later, the ambulance arrived. One paramedic looked at Maya. "Who performed CPR?" "I did." He stared at her. "You saved his life." Mrs. Harrison quickly interrupted. "She was just lucky." Maya quietly picked up the serving tray and walked back to the kitchen, as if nothing had happened. But one person never forgot what he saw. Mr. Harrison. That evening, Mr. Harrison called Maya into his office. He was known as one of the richest businessmen in the country. Calm, observant, very difficult to fool. He looked directly at her. "Where did you learn CPR?" "I watched videos." "You performed it like a trained emergency doctor." She smiled politely. "I've always liked learning." Mr. Harrison wasn't convinced, but before he could ask another question, his phone rang. Business emergency. The conversation ended. Maya quietly left. Outside the office, she took a deep breath. She had almost made a mistake. Days later, Ethan stopped eating. He looked weak. Mrs. Harrison assumed he was pretending to avoid school. She scolded him, but Maya noticed something different. His skin looked pale. His lips were dry. His hands trembled slightly. She gently touched his forehead. No fever. Then she noticed tiny bruises on his arms. Her heart skipped. She immediately became worried, but she said nothing. Without proof, nobody would believe a maid. Instead, she secretly encouraged Ethan to drink water and rest. Meanwhile, Mrs. Harrison hired a famous private doctor. After only 10 minutes, he declared, "It's just stress." Maya lowered her head. She knew. He was wrong. That night, Ethan suddenly collapsed. The mansion exploded into panic. His mother cried. His father called emergency services. While waiting, Maya checked Ethan's pulse. Weak. Very weak. She quickly elevated his legs and kept him breathing calmly. When the ambulance arrived, one young doctor immediately noticed Maya's actions. He looked surprised. "Who told you to do this?" "No one. You prevented him from going into shock." The doctor frowned. "You have medical training." Before Maya could answer, Mrs. Harrison stepped between them. "She's just the maid." The doctor looked unconvinced. Very unconvinced. Late that night, another maid accidentally entered Maya's small servant room. She expected to borrow an iron. Instead, she froze. Books, human anatomy charts, medical journals, practice models, prescription manuals, medical certificates. Before she could read them clearly, Maya entered. The maid quickly apologized and left, but rumors spread through the servants' quarters by morning. Why would a maid own medical books? Was she once a nurse? No. I think she's hiding something. Maya realized her secret was becoming harder to protect. Mr. Harrison couldn't stop thinking about Maya. Her calmness, her confidence, the way doctors reacted to her. Something didn't add up. Without telling anyone, he hired a private investigator. "I want everything about Maya. Everything." 3 days later, the investigator returned. His face looked confused. "Sir, I've never seen a case like this." "What do you mean?" "There are almost no records of her for the last 4 years." Mr. Harrison leaned forward. "And before that?" The investigator placed a file on the table. Mr. Harrison opened it. His eyes widened. At the top of the first page was a graduation photograph, a young woman wearing a white medical coat, smiling proudly. The name underneath read, Dr. Maya Lawson. Mr. Harrison whispered, "My maid is a doctor." Just then, a loud scream echoed from upstairs. Ethan had collapsed again. And this time, he wasn't breathing. The scream echoed through the mansion. "Ethan!" Mrs. Harrison dropped to her knees beside her son. His small body lay motionless on the floor. His lips had turned pale. His breathing had stopped. The servants stood frozen. Nobody knew what to do. Mr. Harrison grabbed his phone with shaking hands. "Call an ambulance! Hurry!" Maya rushed forward. Mrs. Harrison blocked her path. "Stay away from my son." For the first time since she started working in the mansion, Maya looked Mrs. Harrison straight in the eyes. "If we waste another minute, he could die." There was something in her voice. It was calm, firm, confident. Even Mrs. Harrison stepped aside without realizing it. Maya knelt beside Ethan. She checked his pulse. Weak, almost gone. She opened his airway and listened carefully. Then she began chest compressions. 1, 2, 3. Her movements were fast but controlled. Every action came from years of training. The room fell silent, except for the sound of her counting. Mr. Harrison watched in disbelief. This was no ordinary maid. This was someone who had done this many times before. After nearly 2 minutes, Ethan suddenly coughed. A faint breath escaped his lips. Everyone gasped. Just then, the ambulance arrived. The emergency team rushed inside. The lead doctor looked at Maya. "You again?" He immediately recognized her from Ethan's previous visit. Without asking questions, he handed her an oxygen mask. "Keep supporting his breathing." Mrs. Harrison stared at the doctor. "You know her?" The doctor looked confused. "I don't know her personally, but whoever she is. She just saved your son's life." The room became completely silent. At the hospital, Ethan was taken into intensive care. The Harrison family waited outside. No one spoke. An hour later, the chief pediatric specialist walked toward them. He looked serious. "We have identified the problem." Everyone stood. "Ethan has a rare blood disorder." Mrs. Harrison burst into tears. "Can you treat him?" "Yes. But if today's emergency had lasted only a few more minutes." He paused. "He would not have survived." Mr. Harrison slowly turned toward Maya. "You knew something was wrong before anyone else." Maya lowered her eyes. "I suspected it." The doctor looked surprised. "You suspected it? Based on what?" Maya hesitated. She had hidden her past for years, but there was no reason to keep pretending anymore. She took a slow breath. "My name is Dr. Maya Lawson. I graduated from medical school 5 years ago." Silence. No one moved. Mrs. Harrison looked as if she had forgotten how to speak. The servant stared at Maya with wide eyes. Mr. Harrison slowly remembered the investigation file lying on his desk at home. It had been true all along. His maid was really a doctor. Mrs. Harrison finally found her voice. "If you're a doctor, why are you cleaning houses?" Maya smiled sadly. It wasn't by choice. Years earlier, Maya had graduated at the top of her class. She dreamed of opening a clinic for families who could not afford expensive treatment. But only weeks after graduation, tragedy struck. Her father suffered kidney failure. The treatment was expensive. To pay the bills, Maya borrowed money from people she trusted. Then another disaster followed. The private hospital where she had just started working was accused of illegal medical practices. Several senior doctors altered patient records to hide their mistakes. When investigators arrived, someone needed to take the blame. The youngest doctor, Maya. She refused to sign false documents. The hospital management destroyed her reputation. Although she was eventually cleared of wrongdoing, the damage had already been done. Hospitals refused to hire her. Her savings disappeared while caring for her father. After he passed away, Maya had nothing left. No job, no home, no family. The only work she could find was as a housemaid. "So I accepted it," she said quietly. "Honest work is never something to be ashamed of." No one could look her in the eyes. The chief doctor frowned. "Which hospital did this happen at?" Maya answered softly. "St. Anne Medical Center." The doctor's face changed immediately. "I remember that case. The truth finally came out. The doctors who framed you lost their licenses. They even admitted you had tried to stop them." Maya nodded. "I heard. But by then, my life had already moved on." Mr. Harrison felt a heavy weight in his chest. A woman with such integrity had been scrubbing his floors while hiding the skills that could save lives. He realized he had never once asked about her past. A week later, Ethan was smiling again. His treatment had begun. He was getting stronger each day. Before leaving the hospital, Mr. Harrison asked Maya to meet him in his office. She stood quietly, expecting to be dismissed. Instead, Mr. Harrison placed a document on the table. "I have invested in several hospitals over the years. I also own a medical foundation." He pushed the papers toward her. "This is a job offer." Maya looked down, her eyes filled with tears. The position read, Medical Director of the Harrison Community Health Initiative. "I don't understand," she whispered. Mr. Harrison smiled gently. "I don't need another maid. My country needs another doctor."
Mrs. Harrison entered the room. For several seconds, she remained silent. Then she did something no servant in the mansion had ever imagined. She apologized. "I judged you because of your uniform. I never cared to know who you really were. I was wrong. Maya smiled kindly. We all make mistakes. What matters is what we choose after we realize them. Mrs. Harrison nodded, wiping away her tears. From that day forward, every servant in the mansion was treated with respect. Not because of fear, but because the family had learned a lesson they would never forget. Months later, the Harrison Community Health Center opened its doors. Hundreds of families received affordable treatment. Children were vaccinated. Pregnant mothers received free care. Elderly patients no longer had to choose between buying medicine and buying food. On the entrance wall hung a simple plaque. Kindness changes lives. Maya walked through the hospital wearing a white doctor's coat once again. For the first time in years, she finally felt she was home. Little Ethan ran toward her with a bright smile. Good morning, Dr. Maya. She laughed. Good morning, young man. You look much stronger. I am, Ethan said proudly. And when I grow up, I want to save people just like you. Maya smiled. Then promise me one thing. What? Never judge someone by the clothes they wear. He nodded. I promise. Life has a way of hiding extraordinary people in ordinary places. The person serving your food may be carrying dreams that were delayed, not destroyed. The cleaner in an office may have survived battles no one else can see. The driver, the security guard, the gardener, or the housemaid may possess talents, education, and wisdom that circumstances force them to set aside. We often judge people by their job titles, their clothes, or the amount of money they have. But true worth is found in character, kindness, integrity, and the courage to keep moving forward even after life seems unfair. Maya never stopped being a doctor. She simply wore a different uniform for a while. And when the right moment came, her compassion, not her title, saved a life. Sometimes, the greatest treasure is not hidden in a bank or a mansion. It is hidden inside a humble heart that refuses to give up.
Thank you for watching another unforgettable story on Stephified Stories. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like this video and share it with someone who needs to hear its message. If you're not yet part of the Stephified Stories family, click the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell, because another powerful story is already on its way. God bless you, and I'll see you in the next story.